how things escalate where it will be where something will bother me or doesn't get done or in a timely fashion or something, and I will make a comment, and if I don't say it in a kind way, now she's gonna get defensive. When she's defensive, the volume goes up because she's short, she's small, so she wants to be heard. So the volume goes up, and then my sarcasm goes up. So then
it's a lot of back and forth.
It's a volley.
Yeah.
Instead of playing doubles on the same team, we're on the opposite team. We're volleying back and forth.
He's going to be sarcastic, so then I'm going to be nasty about it. Or I'm going to say something mean and be very loud. I'll I take it out of my kitchen a lot. I
feel sorry for those dishes. They're getting scrubbed. Scrub getting faster.
Or I cook.
Yeah, and then when you're if you're gonna clean something off on the system, pop, 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 pop. What's wrong? Nothing. Okay, and then I lick my son. Nothing's wrong. And he goes. So then volume might go up, and then the sarcasm goes up. Then her volume gets a little bit louder.
And then he shuts down completely.
Yeah. That's after
sugar.
If I've made her upset enough, she wants to look at eye level, but she's short, so she will jump and she's shouting, so she can. I think that's to get to where I'm at. So angry leprechaun.
You're rude. You're so rude. I'm not an angry leprechaun.
You are an angry leprechaun. You're Irish and you're jumping around.
You're the worst. You're mean.
Why are you yelling?
All right, that's well,
so
that's good. There's times when things have been unkind. There's things when things have been kind and you've been touched.
I'm super sensitive, so okay.
Yeah. So what do you want to say about kindness?
I did a surprise kind.
You did?
She was stressed out about school.
Yeah.
And she felt I'm barely getting the grades that I want to get, and I'm working full time and going next semester. There's no way that I'm going to be able to, on these classes, do what I got to do and be able to keep up. And so I said, well, then get a part-time job and go to school full-time. She
goes, told me to quit my job.
She goes, seriously? I'm like,
and go to school full-time.
Just do that.
I couldn't believe it.
I can do that?
I was taken aback.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. Then do it. It'll be a different season. There'll be different expenditures, but I mean, you want to do a career change, that's what we got to do. That's what we have to do, and that's what you want to do. Let's do that. Yeah. Seriously? Yes. Yeah.
Started bawling.
Yeah, and then she started crying.
How'd you feel?
I was elated. I'm gonna start crying again. I felt like I was a priority. Like we were really a team. Like he's really gonna be there for me and support me. He was really good.
He was kind.
So kind.
Yeah.
Once in your life. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
All right, that's good. That's good. We'll do that one. All right, and then let's do the one on criticism. What do you guys want to say?
I did want to tell you guys though that she said, but I have to take my classes now. I have to tell the school that I'll take the classes in fall now. I'm all okay. Well,
I literally
say
had
that
like a week.
Say that you'll take the classes, and by then you'll have the job. And she goes, okay. So she does that, and
I put in my notice at work.
Puts in her notice at work
for all my classes.
And then that week she got the job she wanted, and she goes, I feel a total peace right now. And I was like,
that's when you know, like
Pastor Sherry says,
God
look for the miracle. I'm like, that's that feeling you right now, that peace.
Yeah.
That's the peace of God. That's what Pastor Sherry's. That she goes, I am
me.
feeling that right now. That I made the right. Like I'm on the right path.
I applied for
what you're feeling right now. Embrace that, because that is what you're always. That's what we're searching for.
There was no fear. There was no like, what are we gonna do? Oh my gosh! It was like, we're gonna be fine.
Confidence,
like this is what I'm supposed to do. I applied for 2 jobs and I got both jobs.
And then she just got to pick which one she wanted.
And then I just picked which one I wanted.
That's awesome. All right, let's do criticism to request. You good for that?
Yeah. So I feel that he's a little critical sometimes. He's not very. I'm sensitive. I'm very sensitive. So
I'm
I need
very
a lot
blunt.
of sugar. Yeah.
I'm to the point. So I understand what she's saying.
I need a lot of sugar on things, and he'll say things a little harsh sometimes. In his mind, he's not. But to me, I'm like, can you have asked me to do that instead of been so like, come in like Godzilla? But there's been times where he's been a lot more optimistic and easier with it. The delivery's been a lot easier because with time of being together, he knows that I am very sensitive. So he knows to kind of handle me with baby hands and to not be so abrasive when he's asking for things. Not so much barking and telling me what to do, and more so asking. It was our son's birthday. Our youngest just turned 11, and so I decided to take him to the beach for the day. He also has baseball practice on Tuesdays. So his concern was we need to be home in time for him to take a quick nap before practice. Otherwise, he's drained. He's horrible on the field. So I said, okay, you're right. I will have him home to take a nap before practice. Well, after speaking to him about that in the morning, I let him go home with some friends that met us at the beach because they were going to take him to lunch for his birthday. And I said, okay, he has to be home in time to take his nap. You have to have him home. She said, okay, no problem. He got home before my son got home and before the time he was supposed to take his nap. And I had told him, I said, Logan's not here yet. And he was so upset with me. He just stopped talking to me, like just completely shut down. And I felt horrible because I had already had anxiety because I saw the time coming. Before he got home, I'm like, oh my gosh, our son's not home yet. I'm going to be in so much trouble. I'm in trouble. I knew I should have said no and had him just come home. I trusted too much faith in people. So he was really upset with me. Our son got home. He had to change. He had 10 minutes to get dressed and leave to practice. Didn't even get to eat.
Terrible at practice.
He had a horrible practice.
He was yawning on the field.
I couldn't go to practice. I wanted to go to practice with them. And he was like, no, you stay home, go to sleep. You have to work tonight. And I just knew, like, okay, he doesn't want to be around me. That's how mad he is at me right now. I felt awful. He left for practice. I didn't get to see him because I work at night. So I didn't get to see him until the next morning before he leaves to work. So when I got home, he had left a piece of paper that had little bullet points on it.
That were not mean. This is how I felt. This is how you made me feel, and this is why I was upset. That's all it was.
It was very
and
specific.
Like, and do you think you could? This is what I would like.
It was very specific to where it was easier because when we have arguments, we're not listening to each other to actually hear. We're already loading responses.
Right.
It's a volley. I call it a volley.
Yeah, we're not really listening to each other. We're just already loading responses, so nothing's getting solved. There's no resolution because we're just who's going to be right. And so it was actually refreshing to come home at 2 a.m. and sit down and read. I felt like I wasn't heard. I feel ignored. And I was just like reading it and actually having to chew on it and digest it and really like comprehend how he's feeling was refreshing because now I can
no, you. The worst, you always, or you.
Yeah, there wasn't any finger pointing. Yeah,
Like.
And we had learned with our premarital counseling that feelings aren't right or wrong. You're allowed to feel things. And so he had that space to feel how he felt without me telling him, don't feel like that. You shouldn't feel this way. So he was able to get it out. And then I was able to read it and respond without it being argumentative. I'm sorry that I made you feel that way or that you feel that way. Not even just that I made you feel that way.
I understand.
So you had conflict, then you had withdrawal.
Yes.
And all that tension.
Right.
Then you came back together and you initiated. You came back.
Yeah, he wrote the whole down because I had gone to work and I said, thank you for making me have to think about this all night at work now, thinking how much you hate our marriage. Like, this is great. This is what I want to do at work.
That's how tough withdrawal is on
marriage. And that's why I had texted that. I said, thank you for making me think about this.
And I didn't respond because I don't want to.
That was more withdrawal.
Yes. Yeah. And so my shift, I had anxiety and then coming home and reading that, I was like, oh, okay. And I was able to respond to him. And then I left underneath his keys in the morning for him to go to work.
You repaired.
Yeah. And then he texted me right after and he's like, thank you so much for not going back and forth.
I said, thank you for not volunteering. Is that
it's like sarcasm? I didn't know if it was sarcasm.
No, I'm thanking you for not.
Because my responses weren't attacking him. They weren't denying he hates when I diminish his feelings. And I didn't do that this time. I heard him.
Let me ask maybe one more. Do you guys have, and we haven't talked about it yet, but mind reading, this is where you assign motive. This is where you dictate the motives of your mate. Do you ever tell each other what you're thinking? Do you have difficulty with that?
Yeah, I do it to him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I heard what you said, but I know what you mean. the real reason you did that was just because, right? And can you say a little bit about how you learn, because that's really being, in biblical terms, it's being judgmental. So you've learned to let each other speak for
themselves.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I'm trying to think of a situation if you got a better one, and then maybe I can add to it.
Rio, do you recall telling Danny what he's thinking?
Not specifically. I know we do it often. When we are in an argument, or it's more about feelings, not so much about justification of actual actions that have happened. It's more like he's like, I feel like you're not on my team. Okay, so like disciplining our son. He's getting to the age to where he's starting to be real mouthy sometimes, or give attitude or dirty looks.
But the word is, I feel like you're not on my team.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe translation is, you're not on my team.
He really feels that I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times where I've noticed, Logan.
And how do you convince him when he's
I tell him like, you don't feel like that. I am on your team. Like your feelings aren't right. Like
Would
you're wrong
you
in that.
join in with my shellacking him with words here, woman?
Yeah.
You're sitting in the corner not saying a word. Would you be on my team right now?
Me, mentally, I'm like, he doesn't need both of us yelling at him. You're doing just fine.
No, he needs to know that we're both, because he'll
look at me.
He will mama card her and look at her for sympathy. He needs to know
he's in trouble with me, and then he's
not,
looking at Dad to come and rescue.
I'm like, and I'll tell him, I'm like, what are you looking at me for?
Right.
So,
and I don't say anything.
So you're learning to let each other speak for yourself.
Right, and I catch myself sometimes because Logan did we got a dog, and the dog was annoying him, and he pushed her away, and Logan like gave him the dirtiest look and then walked out of our room, and he like just looked at me, and I didn't say anything. I just let him walk out, and then I noticed he was irritated with me because I was like, "What are you watching?" He goes, "Nothing." I'm like, "Oh, this is where I was supposed to help you with that."
All right, so welcome back, you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to be back.
Yeah. So, how's your marriage? Give us a little check-in on how things are going.
It's good. We've been doing our homework and trying to survive.
Requests.
Making requests of each other.
Yeah. We have, yeah.
And requests starting with will you? Will you do X, Y, Z, whatnot?
Yes.
We had we talked about the 5-minute timeout. And you were able to call at least one of them in there somewhere.
We did one timeout.
Yeah.
So it's been actually really easy. Yeah, it's been months since we've.
Sometimes when you can call a 5-minute timeout.
Yeah.
It just brings everything together.
It absolves everything. Yeah, we don't need to.
So you called the 5-minute timeout?
No, he did.
Oh, okay. And did she honor it?
Yeah.
She went quiet for 5, and then you came back after the 5 minutes.
Which is really hard, because I am an immediate problem resolver.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
You're
I can't do it. It was so hard.
Yeah. You like to fix it now.
Yeah. And he's a little later.
Yeah. And remember, you're not putting her in timeout. You're just asking politely for a timeout for yourself. When we do that, we ask for ourselves.
There's times where I like want to come back and be like, "What?" And he's like.
So did you find yourselves thinking and praying during the 5 minutes?
It wasn't even really 5 minutes. Like, you called it back in like 2. It was like, it wasn't anything to.
2 minutes might have been enough to
2 minutes.
to turn it around.
Turn it around to where we just kind of like went our separate ways, and then I think one of us had to leave. So
the 2-minute timeout is what we use with kids, but I find that parents get turned around pretty quick. There too.
We did pretty quick.
All right, so you still have that tool.
Yeah,
it's there to use. Yes, and we did talk about turning criticisms into requests, and you guys have made some. Were you tempted? Did you hear the criticism in your mind?
Yeah, I'm good at it.
And then
I got a varsity
can you give us
letterman.
a criticism that you were thinking of saying, but then you turned it into a request?
And they're constantly in his head.
Like without thinking. Could you stop mindlessly spending money? You're not working full time anymore.
Ooh,
that's what it.
Ooh,
that's what I would like to say.
That's what he does.
Yeah,
but it turned into.
Okay, you flipped it into.
Could you be more cognizant of spending, considering we're going through a new season where we don't have the expendable income that we did before? And just be a little bit more cognizant that, it only costs this, but those things add up.
And what kind of response did you get from that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I can do that. Now, if you'd done the criticism...
Well, I would have set her off.
You would have gone off to escalation.
Yeah.
Jumping up upon?
Yeah.
And the request is a pretty good one. We still want to sharpen it up just a little bit so it's really concrete. Will you be cognizant? Well, okay, what does that look like there? It might eventually for you guys go to a budget, a spending
Right.
budget or something like
Right.
that. So
We've done
so,
that
yeah.
before, so we're
So
familiar
good.
with it. So yeah.
Any other criticisms turn to requests? Or have you, Rio?
I don't have any criticisms from requests because he's been actually really good with not being this critical. He's got it. I think he bought a filter somewhere that like helped him to not be so critical. So it stays inside. I did actually make a request. I said I would appreciate it if everything that went through your mind didn't come out of your mouth, and it works.
You listen to the wisdom of your wife.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, many a smart husband does that.
Yeah.
So,
It can stay in there. It doesn't have to come out.
Yeah.
It means the same in your head.
Yeah. Good. That's our spirit of self-control.
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
It goes back to that again. We talked about reassurance last time of Rio and some wedding vow stuff,
Oh,
giving
yeah.
him some reassurance, and you're my one and only, and no matter how bad it gets, no matter how good it gets.
I just said that the other day.
Yeah, that's what's
What
weird.
would
that
you say
did
to her?
that.
What would you give it to her again?
She was okay. We were talking about finances or money, or it's going to be really hard, in this new season when I go to school.
And I had said to him, I said, one day we're going to look back and I'm going to say, we made it, babe. Look, we made it.
And I'm going to say, and then I said, we can
already
say
made it.
we made it right now.
Yeah.
I said the air conditioning works in the summer, the heat works in the winter. We have a refrigerator; it's always full of food. I've milestones better than my grandparents. It's fair to say we've already made it.
And I was like amazed at his optimism because he is Mr. Pessimistic to the max. And I always have that stupid blind optimism. It's like, oh, the car's on fire, but we're alive. Like, it's
I'm like,
ridiculous.
stop with the annoying optimism.
Yeah, he gets super annoyed
So
by
how
it.
did you feel inside when he shared?
It was really, I even thanked him. I was like, thank you so much for the optimism and just for being like, go us. It was just a good team.
Encouragement? You feel
Yeah.
encouraged inside?
Yeah, I was
and-
like, we're doing it. We are doing it.
We're not going to make it. We already made
We
it.
did make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the middle of it.
So this is, when we think as husbands and fathers about provision, a lot of times we think about financial provision, but there's also spiritual and emotional provision.
Peace
Yeah.
in your house. And
Yeah, and you provided some real encouragement.
Yeah, I don't have that guilt on my shoulders of not bringing as much money into the home as I used to anymore. He doesn't put that on me. He doesn't make me feel guilty for needing to take less work and go to school more. It's still a team effort. He still treats me and makes me feel like I'm the same. Like nothing's changed. That we're still equal.
Yeah.
And you say to him,
Oh, every day. Yeah, every
Thank
day
you.
I'm thankful.
yeah, awesome. That's fantastic. So some good homework here. And we talked last time about Rio expressing appreciation.
Yes.
So we're
She's
getting
been doing that a lot.
What does it sound like? Tell us. Could you give him a little appreciation right now?
I thank you for driving the miserable 3-hour drive to go to work every single day from Chino to Irvine. For being such a good dad to the babies. For being Mr. Mom when I'm at work at night. And holding down the fort and cooking dinners and doing baseball.
You're welcome.
Let me get the chip off,
Feels good.
Yeah, my DNA reading just went through Ephesians, so it's still fresh.
Yeah.
On the rules, my job just quickly went.
What are you getting from Ephesians?
Well,
tell us how that applies.
to love her as Christ has loved the church. When you look at church history, it's pretty bad,
Yeah.
but he loves the church.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty tall order. So you got to learn to be. If you look at it that way, it's a lot easier.
Neat stuff. So good. Your marriage is coming along.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
Progressively, yeah. We're
Yeah.
doing good.
Neat stuff.
Yeah.
So last time we talked about escalation and the fights and the wars, and bringing it to a place of peace, and the spiritual character quality of self-control, withdrawal coming together. You guys have had some good times of coming back from withdrawal into
When we
being
had that
connected.
withdrawal moment too, since that last time we had met, I didn't have those feelings of abandonment again. Which was huge for us because I constantly would battle with that when we would argue and withdraw, or when he would try to leave the house. I'd have those abandonment issues, and I didn't have that this time. It's kind of like I was reassured, like, okay, yes, I did have to sit at work thinking about how much he hates our marriage, but at the same time, like, I knew that it was just in this moment. I knew because he was overly frustrated, that I was going to go home and he was still going to be there.
And when you had fallen into abandonment before, you couldn't see the light at the end
No.
of the tunnel.
No, like that was it. That was where it
Yeah.
ended, right there.
And that's just a deep abyss, and
Right.
you can drown in that.
Oh, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
It was terrifying. I didn't have that this time.
So sometimes people will say that you guys have margin in your marriage, you have money in the marriage bank. So when you have enough connection and your marriage is strong enough,
Yeah.
and that the winds come and test it, then see you say, but I know we're strong, and I know we'll come back
Yeah, because
together.
he says things that still that I know, or he knows that, like, he didn't get to say what he needed to say because I was gonna volley with him about it. So he says things like, makes me not want to try anymore. You know, what is this even worth? You know, I don't want to do this anymore. And before, I'd go into panic mode and be like, that's it, we're done. He doesn't want to be with me anymore. I'm not worth it. Our marriage is crap. Like, we're done. This is it. And I didn't have that this time. It was more like okay, he's frustrated. Just let him say it.
And so remember, we talked a little bit about that last time. That's what we call divorce talk.
Right.
It may not, sometimes people use the D word, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's just an innuendo. It's like, I'm done. I'm finished. That's it.
Yeah,
I'm
he
fed
said
up.
that we were fire and dynamite. Just wait for it to happen. We're going to explode at some point.
So we want to get that out, and it sounds like you guys are doing a good job with that.
Yeah,
there.
we worked it out. And
Yeah.
that's good.
So escalation, withdrawal. Our third one is invalidation and criticism. So again, like you guys have been working on it, we believe that a criticism is a request gone bad. We want to turn criticisms into requests. We want those requests to start with will you, and that brings us into a posture of vulnerability. You have to be vulnerable if you're going to be intimate. You have to have that. And we remember in Scripture it says, bring your request to God with prayer and petition and with thanksgiving. So this is how we come to God. It's a great way to come before each other.
Right.
But why do we criticize? Why don't we just go straight to request? Well, because of that vulnerability. It feels safer to criticize and to point the finger of judgment. But boy, it just puts our mate on the defense, and defensiveness kills that emotional bridge, that closeness that we have.
I can't think of the specific argument that we were having, but you were being super negative and critical, and you were saying I had done something, but we both had done something wrong. And I had told you, I said, it'd be really nice right now if you stopped being so defensive and just listen to what I said. Like, just read what I had said. Stop being so defensive, stop being mean, stop saying nasty stuff, knock it off, and just let it be. I can't think of the specific thing that we were arguing about. It was that insignificant, huh?
Yeah.
Went away.
And what you're doing is you're kind of self-policing, and you're saying, hey, listen, I want you to
Right.
stop being critical and
And
negative.
stop being so defensive and just
and-
listen to what I said.
and-
Like, just take a look at yourself.
And he turned around. He listened to you.
Yeah, I think we had like a couple hours where we were just like, I gotta go.
So invalidation is where we really communicating to our mate that they don't have a valid reason to feel what they feel and their opinions, but particularly their feelings. And so invalidation can sound something like this, or look, oh, you're kidding. Are you bringing that? Do you know how long ago that was? Are you serious? You're going to make a big deal out of that? Oh, come on. Oh my, this is so ridiculous. So all of that's highly, highly invalidating. Yeah. And remember, we talk about how there's these little things on the surface that have deep symbolic meaning. So I think we talked about how to squeeze the toothpaste, is a big deal because it's tied to love or care or trust or faithfulness or
Yeah.
conservation of resources, whatever. So instead of invalidating, say, God, that's not worth arguing over. We want to say, wow, you bring that up a lot. Help me understand why that's so important to you. Yeah. So with validation, there's 4 things that happen, and I have a little handout for it that I'm going to have you guys work here, and it'll be available to people. But I can see how you'd feel. We use feeling words: hurt, frustrated, embarrassed, betrayed, because that's just good old biblical confession.
Yeah.
Here's what I did wrong. No defensiveness. Bottom line, moving forward, I will. That's my promise to change. And then the last one is, I want you to feel. It's usually the opposite of those first feeling
Okay.
words.
Yeah.
Loved, cared, respected, safe,
Acknowledged.
secure,
Okay.
all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So do you guys have a feeling that you would like to have validated? Is there, could be a past, feel there's something that's happened, and could be a feeling that either one of you have, and your mate is willing and able and ready to validate you.
I've got to pass the ignored. I've got fixed.
Ignored. That's your. In that moment, or
No, in that
generally, like
moment.
in our marriage,
No,
you
in that
feel
moment.
just
No,
that night,
week, that like
that 4
past-
days.
Yeah.
Would you like her to validate your feeling of being ignored?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you a little script with it here, and so that'll help you as you walk. And you can actually take the pen and write with it. And so let's really think about Danny for a minute, and you could write on here ignored, right? And there may be some other feelings that go along with it. And before we ask Danny, Rio, what else do you think he feels when he perceives, right or wrong, that he's being ignored? I'm thinking maybe hurt.
Oh yeah, he's angry.
Mhm.
He's hurt.
Yeah, so angry, hurt. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Annoyed.
Annoyed.
Yeah.
Danny, how's she doing? Is she
Yeah, that's good.
that's good. He says you got it right. All right. So go ahead and just work right off the script. New behaviors always feel mechanical and they feel weird, but that's what new things are, and that's okay. So if it's a little mechanical right now, that's fine. So you're going to turn to him and say, I can see how you'd feel, and you're going to share the 4 words.
I
there.
could see how you would feel ignored, hurt, and annoyed because I didn't do what you had asked me to do on several occasions.
And a little commentary. I did ignore you. Yeah, I blew you off. I wrote you off.
Looking back.
Yeah,
Because sometimes in the moment you don't feel like it's
Yeah.
Hey, looking back.
And he
might
said
have-
that he felt that I just gave him a bunch of okays with no intention of actually doing it.
And you can see
And just
how
robotically say,
he
okay.
would have perceived that.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
You were not responsive.
Right.
Okay. All right. And that's a hurtful thing. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Third one.
Moving forward, I will be more attentive to what you're requesting me to do instead of just okaying you.
That sounds good. And the requests.
Yeah. In honoring your requests. Yeah.
Yeah.
Responding to your requests. All right.
I want you to feel appreciated, acknowledged, heard.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Is that what you're wanting to feel?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to feel those things.
Yeah. So jot those down. And I'm going to have her read it back to you again. And this time I'm going to put my watch on it. And I want you to see just how quickly you can validate your mate's feelings. All right? So go ahead and just read right through.
I can see how you would feel ignored, hurt, and annoyed because I didn't do what you had asked. Moving forward, I will pay more attention. I want you to feel heard and acknowledged.
Yeah.
It's under 30 seconds.
It was actually less than 15 seconds. So
I didn't talk fast either.
yeah. So isn't that amazing? I usually time it for the men because the men will say she's high maintenance, And then they.
Oh, I think he's been reading your mind. That's verbatim.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we validate, and it's less than, usually it's about 30 or 40 seconds or something. It's less than a minute. And then I turn to the husband, I say, see, she's low maintenance. She's not high maintenance.
Let's do more of those.
But there's an emotional turnaround and a spiritual turnaround that happens in a matter of seconds.
When you feel validated.
When you feel validated, yeah. And I think
do you
really...
feel something different? Saying stuff like, yeah? What does it feel like?
Validated.
Yeah?
You feel good, you feel strong, you feel like, wow, you don't have to educate her, you don't have to convince her. She's got it.
I don't have to convince her.
Yeah, she's got it. There's nothing to debate over. It's fantastic. I think really at the heart of that is that step number 2, and that's the confession. There's something very powerful about confession.
True.
And
confess your faults one to another.
Pray for one another and you'll be healed.
Right.
James there, 5:16.
And there's some, like you said, it's powerful.
It's very, very powerful. And you think about it, it's very difficult to argue with a confessing person.
Right.
You did wrong. Yeah.
Right.
You should have done that. Yeah.
I
You
can
should do it
totally
again.
see how you would feel that way.
Yeah.
I can see that. When they do that, you're like,
What do you say, like, when people are being a bully? Like, are you being mean to me right now?
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. They're like, what? Oh.
are you being me right now? And they put them on in a weird.
Yeah.
So you have a new tool here, validation.
Yeah.
Love for you to practice and realize that very, very quickly.
I'm gonna
you
need like 500 of this. Just kidding.
So validation really is the heart of this emotional bridge and an emotional intimacy. I feel heard, I feel understood, and I have a valid reason to feel how I feel. Right. Last time did we talk about perception? Did we talk about the waitress?
Yeah.
No.
So you go out to eat now, and the waitress comes, and she has this very interesting question. They didn't ask this question before, but now they ask this question. Does everything taste okay? Right?
Oh.
Now, why are they asking that? I mean, like the manager, the owner would put bad tasting food on the menu. I go, well, what is that? Right? So, no, they only put good tasting food on there, but they ask us the question because they want to know our perception.
Yeah.
Right? It could be the best food in the world, but if we don't perceive it, then we didn't have a good experience in the restaurant. Now, if she or he would invalidate us and say, do you realize that over 300 people gave this plate of food a 5-star review? Who do you think you are? No tip. You'd be offended, right? So what does the waiter or waitress do? If you don't like the food, they say, can I get you another plate of food? Can I get you anything else off the menu?
Yeah.
Because they want so much for you to have a good experience when you leave, when you're there, and then eventually when you leave the restaurant. So in our marriages, that's such a great word picture, because so often in marriage we argue our mate's perception. Right. What? How could you feel that? I mean, what? How did you that?
Yeah.
And instead we need to be concerned that, wow, that's how they feel, that's how they perceive it. And like the waitress, the remedy is to give them a different experience. Not a verbal fencing and a debate, but to give them a different experience. You're so selfish, and it's big fat criticism, and you're only thinking about yourself, and you don't even know what I'm going through, and you don't listen to me, right? And so I could debate that, or I could say, could I listen to you right now? I'd like to not be selfish right now. What can I do for you? Because intimacy's in the moment. It's right then and right there.
We've tried that, and he doesn't believe me.
He doesn't believe you?
No, he always says, like, we've done this before. We've been together for 7 years. I already know you're not going to just listen to me. I'd rather just be quiet.
Yeah.
That's the face.
Yeah.
I'm listening now.
Because I tell you, I will listen this time. Give me a chance. Let me show you that I can. Really give you 50 million chances. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I tried.
So let's go ahead and move on, and we're going to do our 4th conflict style. And the 4th conflict style is called negative interpretation. Its big brother is mind reading, and sometimes we call it assigning motive. So negative interpretation is where we label and pigeonhole our mate, and we actually start to see them less than human, and we feel justified in treating them less than human. And really some of the negative things that we hear out there in marriages is he's a narcissist and a sociopath, and she's a psycho chick, and all this stuff. It's like, wow, and it's just so poisonous. It's just so toxic, right? And the greatest example of this is racial prejudice. Where you start to see a whole group of people as subhuman, and then when the fog lifts, oh my gosh, it's genocide. It's a crime of all crimes, because we get diluted in this thing. So that's an extreme version if you went really far down the scale, but it happens in smaller versions in marriages. Mind reading is where we dictate the thoughts, motives, or intentions of our mate. I heard what you said, but I know what you mean. I had a wife one time who turned to her husband and she said, "The only reason you come to marriage counseling is to put on a show for the kids."
Oh,
Woo, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens with that? Well, first of all, I mean, that from biblical standpoint, that is being judgmental.
Yeah.
Only God knows the heart of man, and me too. Me and God, we got it going on, right? So that's it's really honestly it's an arrogant thing here.
Mm.
So the ground rule in healthy marriages is we may doubt motive, we don't get to dictate motive.
Mm.
So if she had doubted the motive, she would have said, "Is the reason you come to marriage
Yeah.
counseling to put on a show for the kids?" Right? The question would have allowed him to have a voice.
Right.
But what happens when we're judgmental, when we assign motive to our mate, is we really put him into a double bind, a come here, go away. I feel compelled to prove differently and I can't. And eventually it just leads to despair.
Yeah.
That's why this one shows up as one of the 4 big predictors, the big killers of marriage. It's vital that we let each other speak for themselves. We can doubt the motive, not dictate the motive. So you guys, do you have challenges with
Is the
that-
real reason that you're so flexible with my gym schedule is so when a wedding pops up, I have to go now?
Really? Knock it off. No.
I'm a terrible person. I hate weddings.
Uh-huh.
I don't like them.
You can just stand there, get all hot and sweaty, and it takes forever.
And they talk forever. I'm glad of what they're doing, but they want to do it on a Saturday when I got stuff to do. And then I got to go far and put on my best outfit.
Yeah.
And they always do it in the
Wait,
heat.
no,
and I'm there
what do you call it?
perspiring.
Your monkey suit.
Yeah, I can't stand suits. I look like a goofball. And I'm there perspiring in the sun. And I had to do it because I did a bunch of cool stuff.
So is the negative interpretation in mind reading?
He feels like I made him go to a wedding, and it's his cousins.
But let me see if I understand it. You're saying, hey, are you being flexible with me?
Yes.
So is this?
So I had to do stupid stuff you want to
Is
do.
this your motive? So it is a question.
That's a question.
It is a
Yeah.
question.
Are you being serious though?
No, I'm giving
Okay.
an example.
Yeah. If you
know
had
the answer.
said to Rio, the only reason you're flexible with me is so that you can stick it back to me and make me go to
I
weddings.
could be called a narcissist if I say no, because it's the one thing you've asked me to do, and I won't go.
Yeah. So,
No, I have to go.
it's close to it, but you're still asking.
It's not real.
Yeah, you're
It's not a
still
real
asking.
moment.
So you guys do
Do you
pretty
have one?
good. You don't have too much of a problem
He probably has
with
something.
mind reading and escalating and
No.
Come on, dear, lay it out.
With
What do you have?
Yeah.
No, I don't have one.
yeah, good. All right, so that's an area where you don't have a big challenge in. You're blessed.
No.
That's,
Lucky.
Do you go to the gym on the weekends that we have both boys so that you don't have to deal with them?
I go to the gym religiously so I can get that dang
So you don't kill them.
black belt one day. And I can't get better if I'm not there.
But before we leave the wedding thing, let me just a little side note. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. So in terms of your marriage, in your heart, in your spirit, in your prayer, you want to say, if I'm going to do this, then let me go do this.
Well,
no,
yeah, we
I,
had one.
we know I
Good
made the
attitude.
best
We got
of
an
it.
invitation in the mail months ago, and I said, "Look, at Dee Dee's getting married. We're gonna go." He goes, "Yes, we're gonna go." Okay, we're gonna go. Come time, like the weekend of the wedding, I'm like, "Okay, I gotta book the hotel." He's like, "We're really going to that?" You said
That's gonna
yes, we're
cost
going.
money.
So he was just miserable. But it was my birthday weekend. We made it nice. Although we did have to share a bed with an 11-year-old boy. That was not fun.
Yeah.
I made the best of it.
So I want to talk with you guys now about emotional intimacy. And again, we've said before, the great expectation of marriage is that we have a deep emotional relationship. when couples don't have a deep emotional relationship, that oneness the Bible talks about, the emotional bridge, you hear couples say, we're like roommates.
Oh.
We're like ships passing in the night. We're good parents together, or we're good business partners. And of course, when we hear that, our hearts kind of sink, like, ooh,
Yeah,
ouch,
that
ooh,
hurts.
painful.
Yeah.
So the question really is, what is emotional intimacy? And how do you get it? And people go off into all kinds of interesting ideas about what it is. We like to just keep it simple. We believe that emotional intimacy is the ability to feel your feelings, label those feelings with appropriate feeling word. And then in this exercise here that we're going to do, you're going to share a sentence or two as to why you feel that feeling. And we're going to share 4 feeling words. All right? So with this exercise, it's 2 feeling words about your marriage. One of them needs to be positive. And with each of those, it's a sentence or two as to why you feel that. And then 2 feeling words about anything else. Your world, your parenting, your job, it could be your childhood, it could be anything else. So one of you's going to go first, the other one's going to actually write down the word and then write down the sentence or two. Then you're going to switch the roles here, because I'm going to give you a list of feeling words. And then they're going to write it down, okay? When you get done with the listing and the writing, then you're going to say, I'm hearing you say, and you're just going to read through the feeling words and the sentences.
Okay.
And that's it. It's so we call it emotional intimacy in about 10 minutes or less.
Okay.
Okay? If we can attach and connect deeply and quickly, then we can do it often.
Okay.
Right? That's what we want to do. If connecting emotionally takes hours, well, when is that going to happen? I mean, maybe once every few months, right? So we want to be able to do it quick and fast. You guys did a great job with validation. That was super fast. You can do it in a minute.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So on the front page of this handout is the instructions. The next page is the list of feeling words. If you're thinking of a feeling word and you don't see it on the page, you can just say it. There's nothing magical about the list. So you can just the next page is a feeling wheel, right? And so this is you kind of have primary feelings in here, and then they kind of radiate out there. So some people like to use that, and it kind of helps them get a deeper vocabulary. On the last page is all of the feelings of Jesus as recorded in the Gospels. Now, they say that the average American educated male has a feeling vocabulary of 4 words: happy, glad, sad, and bad. And some men, they just have one: anger, And so you'd be very happy to see that Jesus had an extremely wide, broad feeling vocabulary. He was really in touch. So you can use some of his words as well too.
Okay.
So who would like to go first in terms of? Okay, she volunteered you. All right. So you have the list of feeling words, and you have the pad of paper.
Okay.
And
so he has to pick 2 feeling words.
yeah, he's going to pick 2 about his marriage,
our marriage,
and two about anything else. So first are the feeling words about the marriage.
About the marriage.
Yeah. 2 feelings you have about your marriage. One of them being positive.
Pleased.
All right, so the first word is pleased. And give us a sentence or 2 about you feeling pleased.
Using the word pleased?
You don't have to, but
Like,
just
why are you pleased?
Oh, why am I
yeah,
pleased
yeah.
with marriage?
Because I'm awesome.
No. Because it's secure, and it's I'm very secure in it, and it makes me happy.
Yeah, it makes me happy. All right. And when she's done writing, then you give her your second word that you're feeling about your marriage.
Enthusiastic.
All right. The
Like
word
that
is
one.
enthusiastic. A sentence or 2 about enthusiastic.
Because we're enjoying all the new seasons,
Uh-huh.
and we're able to be confident in those new seasons, and they're fun and they're adventurous. So I
like
can look at
baseball and that kind of stuff? Or?
yeah, when school, her doing school, and the kids getting older, and
Uh-huh.
there's new seasons keep coming in, but you can look at them as an adventure, because
Okay.
life is an adventure, and you have a good partner, you know.
You're enjoying
I
life
want
with
to
Rio.
just do this all day.
Yes.
These are good.
Yeah.
I didn't know
So
you felt that way.
yeah. So now 2 feeling words about anything else.
Um,
Does he have to say what the anything else is?
He will. Mhm.
Okay.
First is the word, and then he'll share
Okay.
why he feels that, what it's about.
How many of those?
2.
2. Okay. Sorry, I'm new to this.
I'm not seeing it on here. But,
Okay, yeah, just say it.
Optimistic.
Optimistic. Okay, a sentence or two about optimistic.
The future looks a lot more bright.
Okay. All right, and when she's done writing, your 4th and final word.
Feeling peaceful. I just told you this the other day. I just told you this today. But
Uh-huh.
because human nature's default is to fight and conflict because it's easy, but peace is difficult.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
and
better.
You're feeling it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's too easy to default into,
All right.
That's it.
Okay. So I want you
So
to go
wait,
ahead.
why are you feeling peaceful?
Because the default in nature is to have conflict, and that's too easy. And I feel peace, and that's always better.
But why do you feel peace?
I don't know. 'Cause peace
You've
is
been
God.
able to choose to not default.
Yeah, exactly. I choose to not default.
Yeah, you
you
choose to.
There's a way that seems right to a man, but those are the ways of destruction.
Right. So you're making a conscious choice.
Yeah.
To be peaceful.
Everything's a choice.
Yes. Yeah.
You can, even being offended, it's a choice.
That's right.
You chose
Yeah.
to be offended.
It's true.
All right. So go ahead and trade the feeling list and the pad of paper.
Okay.
And Danny, I'd like for you to flip the page up so you're on a separate sheet. That way you guys can have your own separate notebooks as you do more feeling words later on.
Okay.
And so Rio, you're up and you're going to share
Agonize. I'm just kidding. Don't write that. I'm not agonize.
I was gonna write it.
2 words about your marriage.
I'm just kidding.
What's
Leave the jokes to me, sweetie.
Oh, that's right. You're the funny one.
Funny looking.
I feel passionate.
passionate? Okay. And a sentence or two about passionate.
Passionate. I feel passionate because I am truly in love with my husband, and
Uh-huh. Say it right to him. I'm truly in love with you.
I am truly in love with you every day, more and more. And it's just over. My cup is overflowing. I feel
Okay. And when he's done writing, then you give him your second one. Second word.
Okay, go ahead.
awake.
Awake. Okay. A sentence or two about awake.
I feel like I really see for the first time how amazing we work together.
All right. And when he's done writing, then your third word about something other than your marriage.
Something other than my marriage. Thrilled.
Okay. The word is thrilled. A sentence or two about thrilled.
I am thrilled to have the ability to follow my dreams and to becoming a nurse.
In becoming
A nurse.
a nurse. Okay.
I'm thinking. Sorry. No rush. Confident?
All right. Fourth word is confident. Sensitive about confident.
He made me feel like I do anything.
Say it again.
I said that he can make me feel like I could do anything. Boom.
All right. So you've got the page there. I'd like for you to just say, "I'm hearing you say," and just read it back, and then she's going to do the same for you.
I'm hearing you say that you're passionate because you're truly in love with your husband, me, and your cup is overflowing. I'm hearing you say that you're really awake for the first time because of how amazing we work together, and you're thrilled to have the ability of following your dreams to become a nurse, and you're confident because I make you feel like you can do anything.
Yes.
So, how do you do?
Good.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all of it.
He listened. He
Yeah.
captured all the whole bit. Danny, do you feel like you got a little snapshot into the emotional window of your wife?
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Good team.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and pass the pad of paper over, and you're going to say, "I'm hearing you say."
I'm hearing you say that you are pleased because you are secure and it makes you very happy. You are enthusiastic about our marriage because you're enjoying our seasons that we're going through and you're having fun on the adventure. I hear you say that you are optimistic because our future looks bright and you feel at peace because you choose to be, because it's easier just to be at conflict.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yes. How'd she do? Did she get it right?
Yeah,
hear
she
you?
heard me.
Yeah.
Good team.
And Rio, do you feel like you got a little
Definitely.
snapshot?
Yeah,
into-
definitely. I didn't expect him to say these words. So it was nice. It's refreshing.
It's refreshing.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if I got exact.
That was
It
pretty-
was about 10 minutes. It was something right there. So,
Only because I write slow.
And gonna
Uh-huh.
talk a lot.
so just imagine you guys feel out of sync with each other. You're really not connected. In 10 minutes, you could
Yeah.
have this level of connection.
I like it.
Yeah. Now, believe it or not, I have couples that they'll do this. Many times they'll do it most nights when they get home. Sometimes they'll do it over the phone at a lunch break. I don't totally recommend it, but I even have one couple where they text it to each other.
Yeah.
So you lose something with that, of
Yeah.
course. So, I mean, there's ways to make it on a business trip. They'll get on the phone,
Yeah.
talk to each other, share their 4 feeling words. It's a
Yeah,
really,
I
really
like it.
fast,
Something we
quick
can-
way for you guys to connect.
Yeah, we can definitely work that into our daily. That's nice.